All right, watch this one. 4 goes into 12. How many times? All right, so look, I got a 3, an x, and a 1 all left over. You got to times them all. 3x times 1 is 3x. All right, last fraction. What cancels out? The 12s cancel, right? What do I bring down? 11x. So now we solve the equation. All right, and solving this equation is going to be very easy. We got to get our like terms on the same side, right? So I got to move the 3x over here with the 11x. So I got 24 equals 8x. Write it down. And what's my answer going to be? X equals 3. So after you get rid of the fractions, the math isn't that hard. Where we're going to have trouble is dealing with the fractions on the first step. Anybody have a question on number 1 before we go to number 2? Nope? All right, let's look at number 2. All right, let's look and see if we can figure out the common denominator based on what I told you on the last problem. When you're trying to find the common denominator, use one of everything on the bottom. So I got a 6, I got a 3, and I got a 2. All right, but hold up. What was the next thing I told you about the common denominator? If one of the numbers divides into the other one, you can cross that number out. So 3 goes into 6. I can get rid of that. 2 goes into 6. So look, all we need for our common denominator on this one is 6, 6, and 6. Anybody have a question on that? All right, and from there you just break it down. All right, so watch me break down this first one. This 6 cancels out with that 6. I don't have anything left up here, so I just bring down my x squared. But at least it got rid of the fraction, right? All right, second fraction. 3 goes into 6. How many times? 2 times x is 2x. All right, and what do I bring down on the right side of the equal sign? 3. Lewis says 3. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 3 times 1 is 3. Okay? Now we just got to solve it. So look, the hardest part, and really the only part that's new for you, I'm not sure if y'all did this last year or not, is the first step when you got to do the common denominators. The second step is just solving like we've been solving all year. Look back at number 1. Did we have an x squared left over? No, so I could just do my like terms and just solve it. Look at number 2. I do have an x squared. And when you have an x squared, you got to do quadratic formula. But I think we can factor this one. Move that 3 over. Remember, you got to set it equal to 0 no matter if you're going to factor it or do quadratic formula. Now, I don't care which way you do it. This one is so easy to factor. Why don't we factor this one? If you want to do quadratic on everything, again, that's fine. Some of y'all are really good on that, and some of y'all can't factor for anything. All right, now watch me factor this one. X times x. I got to make them times together to get 3. 3 times 1, negative and positive. So that'll work. Times them, you get negative 3. Add them, you get negative 2. So if you want to factor it, that's how you factor it. But you still got to solve it. So, Lewis, if I move minus 3 over, that answer would be positive 3, and that answer would be negative 1. So those are my answers, negative 1 and positive 3. And if you do quadratic formula, you're going to get the same thing. All right, so that's how you do the first step when there are just numbers on the bottom. So that's going to get y'all all the way down to 8. All right, so now we're going to look at some when they have a variable on the bottom. All right, let's go to 9. We'll jump ahead to number 9. Number 9, I got x plus 5 equals 6 over x. All right, let's do the common denominator step together. What's the rule when you guys go and try to find the common denominator? You got to use one of everything on the bottom. Okay, what's going to be my common denominator on this problem? The only thing that's on the bottom, guys, is x. So you just put an x here, and x here. So So you do it the same way you did with your numbers on number 1 and number 2. Whatever's on the bottom, use everything one time. All right, so now let's break it down. All right, look, I don't have anything on the bottom right here, do I, on this first number? So I can't cross anything out. So what do I do with these two before I bring them down? Multiply them. So you times that, you bring down x squared. We couldn't mark anything out. Now sometimes kids mess up. They mark out that x with that x, right? But you can only mark something out if it's on the bottom of a fraction. Look back at the last problem. Yeah, see, I could mark the 6's out because one was on the bottom. I could mark the 3 out because it was on the bottom. But if it's not on the bottom of the fraction, you can't mark it out. All right, what do I bring down here? 5 times x is 5x. All right, what do we bring down here? The x's can cross out on this one. You just bring down a 6. All right, so that was pretty easy as far as getting rid of the fraction, getting to something now that's a quadratic that we can either factor or do quadratic formula. So I'm going to move my 6 over, and I'm going to let you guys do quadratic formula from there. If you guys ever need the formula, it's right up here. Let's knock that out real quick.
I don't know.
You don't remember?
I think so, but I don't know that we did it this way.
I think this is the easiest way to do it. All right, look at number 11. We've got to figure out your common denominators. What do I write above each fraction? All right, so what's the rule? The rule is use one of everything on the bottom. So look, guys, we're going to use an x squared minus 3, and we're going to use an x plus 4. Those are completely different. X squared minus 3 and an x plus 4. X squared minus 3 and an x plus 4. All right, so this is the first time we've had an expression on the bottom. Not just a number or not just an x. And what you do is just use one of everything on the bottom. How's that showing up? All right, now what crosses out on the first fraction, guys? X squared minus 3, right? What do I do with this before I bring it down? I times it. So watch. X times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. Anybody have a question on that step? So Dylan, all I'm doing right here is distributing. That's all I'm doing. Whatever's left over, you got to multiply it and bring it down. All right, good. What cancels out on the right side? X plus 4s. What do I bring down? Anybody want to guess? 5 times x squared is 5x squared. 5 times 3 is minus 15. So that's the hardest step. That's the step that's new. All right, now from here, we've got an x squared in our problem, so I know I'm going to have to do quadratic formula, right? All right, so we got to get our like terms. Let's move everything on the left side. What's going to happen with positive 5x squared when I move it over? It becomes a negative 5x squared. That gives me negative 4x squared. I got a plus 4x. And I got to move minus 15 over. Is that minus 15? Yeah. So that would be a positive 15. All right, I need to show y'all a trick before we start doing quadratic formula. All right, do you guys see anything wrong with this? There's something right here in this quadratic that I've never asked y'all to work out in the quadratic formula. Yeah, we've never had a problem with a negative on the first number, ever. And how you could have fixed that, Lewis, how you could have avoided that, I could have moved positive 1 over here, made it a negative 1, then I would have positive 4 on that side. I could have did it that way. But once we're here to fix this, all y'all have to do is flip all your signs. It's okay if you flip them all. You can't just flip one. But as long as I flip all 3 of them, nothing changes on my answer. So that's positive 4x squared, that's negative 4x, minus 15 equals 0. Now do quadratic formula on that, and you got your answers. Guys, in here I got 256. Anybody else get that?
Yeah.
That is, I'm pretty sure that's 16. So I got 4 plus or minus 16 over 8. Now find both answers for me from there. Four plus 16 over 8. First answer I got 5 over 2. Second answer I got is negative 3 over 2. Does that confirm? Does that check out? Everybody good on that? Now we definitely need to do a couple more like that. All right, let's go to number 13. Now we're going to end up doing all these on the front, so if you guys know what you're doing and want to just start working, that's fine. I think there's a couple more things I probably need to show you. 13, I got x over x minus 5. X over x minus 5 equals 3. All right, so the hardest part is picking out the common denominator. You guys look at this problem on the board. Number 13, what's going to be the common denominator? What do I have to write above each fraction? All right, now, the rule is, that's right, Lewis, the rule is I got to use one of everything on the bottom, right? So, do I write this down once or twice above each fraction? Because it's written down twice on the bottom. But the rule is just use it one time. Everything on the bottom, just use it one time. So we can get away with just doing x minus 5 one time. You don't have to repeat it. All right, and let's see what y'all can do with this. Let's see if y'all can go from here and break it down and see how you did. Dylan, what cancels out on the first fraction? All right, so look, everything canceled out, so you just got to bring down the x. Second fraction, everything cancels out. Just bring down the x again. All right, does anything cancel out on the third fraction? No, there's nothing on the bottom to cross out. So what do? You times these two and then bring it down. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 5 is minus 15. So that one was pretty easy. That's really basic. All right, now, do I have an x squared left over in my problem? No, so I don't even have to worry about doing quadratic formula on this one. Y'all just do your like terms, get your x's on the left side of the equal sign, get your numbers on the right, solve it and get me an answer. So this one's about as easy of one as I could give you on the test. They're going to get a lot harder than this.
Why?
Luke, question. All right, so I got to take 3x and move it over here. That'll make it negative 3x. All right, so my final answer is positive 15. Anybody else get that? Good? Dylan says I'm good. All right, let's go to 14. 14, 5 over 2x. Minus 3 over 10. All right, so we're looking at 14. All right, so here's a challenge to see if y'all learned anything. We got to pick out our common denominator. All right, look at the bottom on all three fractions. Now look, I don't have any plus signs or minus signs on the bottom, so this one's really like number 1 or number 2. It's really like number 1. All right, I'm going to give you about 15 seconds. See if you can figure out what the common denominator is going to be on this problem. And remember, use everything one time. And if a number divides into another number, you don't have to use it. You mark it out. All right, anybody brave enough to think they got the common denominator? Luke, you think you got it? Harlow, what is it? All right, watch. So our common denominator, if you use one of everything on the bottom, you would put 2x 10, right? But don't forget, will 2 divide into 10? Yep, so I don't have to use it.
There's not an X. Oh, you don't have to
What is
use
it,
it
10x?
So it's just 10x. 10x, 10x, 10x. Now, what if you left that number right there like Harley did? You could still get the right answer. You would have to work out maybe a few more steps, but you could still do it. So it doesn't mess you up. It's just easier doing it my way. If a number divides into the other number, cross it out. All right, so now you guys go from here, see if y'all can break it down. All right, here we go. Let's see what y'all got. All right, if you're lost, watch me. The x cancels out the x, right? 2 goes into 10. How many times? 5 times 5 is 25. So out of all that, we're just bringing down 25. All right, second fraction. 10 cancels out the 10. What do I bring down? Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. All right, on the last fraction, the x cancels out the x. What do I bring down? 10 times 1 is 10. All right, now that one's going to be pretty easy to solve. Like terms, get your x's on the left, numbers on the right. We don't have to do quadratic formula on this one because we do not have an x squared. Negative 3x. 10 minus 25. All right, I got positive 5. Check behind me. It's good. All right, question on 14. All right, let's go to 15. All right, look at 15. What's the common denominator going to be? Remember, you got to use one of everything on the bottom. So somebody right now in here is thinking, all right, well, look, x is already right there, so I can just write x minus 1. All right, that's not true. You've got to use one of both of them, x and x minus 1. All right, so now somebody's wondering, okay, what's the difference? Because back on the last problem, we marked out the 2 because it went into 10. What's the difference? The difference is when you've got a plus or minus sign on the bottom, guys, that is completely separate from that x. That is grouped as one number. X minus 1 is grouped as one number, so the only way you mark it out is if you have another x minus 1. Does that make sense? All right, see what y'all can get from here. This one shouldn't be that bad from here. So I got 3x here, I got 2 there. I got my answer is 2 over 3. Harlan, you got that? All right, let's keep going. We'll do like 2 or 3 more together, and then I'll let y'all finish this side on your own. All right, let's go to, we need to do 16. Yeah, let's do 16. Y'all got, y'all see on 16 where it's got your variables of t? I'm going to make those x's. Y'all okay if I do 4x instead of 4t? So it's 3x minus 2 on the bottom, 2x on top, 3x plus 2 on the bottom. I can't make those t's. Mine look like plus signs, so let's do x's. All right, so who can figure out what's the common denominator on this problem? Got to use everything on the bottom one time. What are we going to write above each fraction?
3x minus 2 times 3x plus 2.
Good, Lewis. Got to use one of each, guys. Remember, if you got a plus or minus, you can't just take parts out of it. You got to use the whole thing. So Lewis is right. It's 3x minus 2 and 3x plus 2. You've got to write that above each fraction. 3x minus 2, 3x plus 2. 3x minus 2, 3x plus 2. All right, I'm glad we're doing this one. This one gives them the most trouble. All right, see if y'all can do the first couple parts of it. I can mark out 3x minus 2. Whatever's left over, I got to distribute together. So 4x times 3x is 12x squared. 4x times 2 is 8x. All right, let's go to the second fraction. I can mark out the 3x plus 2's, right? Now, same thing, I just got to distribute. 2x and 3x is 6x squared, and then minus 4x. All right, what marks out on the third fraction? Nothing. There's nothing on the bottom. All right, watch this, guys. Here's the trick. This is probably what's missed the most on this test. We've got to multiply all three of these together. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to distribute 2 with the first one. That gives me 6x minus 4. Now bring down the third one, and now you have to fold that out. Now there's other ways you can do it. That's the best way to do it.
Can you just multiply 2 times all?
No. I don't think that's going to be the same thing.
I'm not reading that down.
That's okay. Just watch me do it, and then you can just copy it. All right. Anybody have a question what I did? Multiply 2 by the first one, bring it down, bring down the third one, and now fold them out. So if I fold it, I got 18x squared, got a plus 12x, I got a minus 12x, and I got a minus 8. Whoops, I messed up. Let's try that again. 4 times 2 is minus 8. So look, the 12 and the 12 cancel each other out, so I'm just bringing down 18x squared minus 8. Did that end up being the same thing, Louis, what you were talking about? No? Okay. All right, that's the hardest part on these problems. That's what's missed the most on the test. I probably won't give you but one of those on the test.
If you just did 4 like at first and then multiply by 2, that would work.
Yes, Lewis is right. Now you could fold them first and then distribute the 2 if you want to. That's fine. If that's easier for you, do it. All right, so now we got to do like terms. Before I can even decide if I'm going to have an x squared left over or not, let's do like terms. I can add these 2 up on the left. I got 18x squared. I can add these 2 up on the left. I got 4x. All right, this one's actually going to work out really good. Really easy. All right, what's going to happen with 18x squared, guys, when I bring it over here and put it with this one? It turns into a minus 18x squared. They cancel out. All I got left is 4x equals negative 8. So this time we're not going to have to do quadratic formula because my x squares canceled out. So my answer is just negative 2. So that one was easy to work out. It was hard to get rid of the fractions on that one. Let's hope we don't have to do that one again. 17 would be just like that. When you guys get ready to do 17 on your own, it would be just like that. Let's go to 18. 12x squared minus 16. All right, we're adding a new step. Like y'all hadn't had enough, right? Adding a new step. Everybody ready? Look at number 18. Look at the bottom right here. This is the first time, guys, we've had one on the bottom that we can factor out. So, Lewis, if you can factor out what's on the bottom, you got to factor it. So that's going to be x plus 4 and x minus 4. All right, so write that down, and then we'll talk about it. So if you have something you can factor, then you have to factor it out before you talk about common denominators. All right, so what is our common denominator on number 18? We use everything on the bottom one time. What do I write above each fraction? Let's see.
X plus 4x minus.
Yeah, x plus 4 and x minus 4. Now, only use it one time. You don't have to write it down twice. But you're going to write x plus 4 and x minus 4 above all three. All right, and we have a good chance on this one to see if y'all learned how to do that last problem.
Which one would you use for 18?
All right, look. I'm going to have an x squared left over in this problem. I'm going to have to do quadratic formula. I don't want to move that over here and make it a negative 3x squared, right? So I'm going to move all of my numbers over to that side. So my positive 3x squared is going to be in the front. All right, I move negative 24x over. That's a positive 24x. That goes in the second spot. All right, look, I've got a 12 minus 96. That's negative 84. So when I move it over, that's going to be a positive 84. Would somebody add those up for me right there, please? I don't have a calculator on.
36.
Positive 36, okay. Anybody have a question about what I did? So if you had everything on the left side, you would have a negative 3x squared, a negative 24x, and a negative 36. You'll get the same answer. It's fine. All right, so this is what we're going to do quadratic formula with. Now, I got to show you a trick. You don't have to use this trick. It really doesn't affect the answer, but it does make it easier. If I notice that I can divide all three of these numbers by 3, it's going to make it easier if you do that. So that becomes x squared. That becomes 8x. 36 divided by 3 is 12. Now, again, you don't have to do that. Why did I do that? Just to get my numbers smaller. You don't have to do that. You'll get the same answer. All right, you guys do quadratic formula with that.